So Against the Ice is quite the moving and interesting film. What about it really drew you to the project?
Against the Ice is the kind of explorer story that I've been liking since I was a kid. You know, I've been fascinated by these people traveling out to unknown parts of the world, and I was fascinated about what is driving them. And then when I came across this story about such an experienced explorer that is ending up in the Northeast Greenland together with a totally unexperienced mechanic, I thought, you know, there's a great dynamic there. You know, the old guy and the rookie being under extreme pressure under these conditions.
So how familiar would you say you were with the story of Ejnar and Iverson before really signing on for the film?
Yeah, I got to know the story many years ago, and I didn't know about this explorer, Ejnar Mikkelsen or Iver Iverson. You know, it's a pretty unknown part of the exploring history. So I thought that's an advantage. Oh my God, that's an advantage to not have these like a world famous explorer. You know, it's a story that you have not known outside of Denmark. So I thought, okay, let's bring that up and dramatize their expedition. And it's based on the real experiences. Mikkelsen himself has written this book, Two Against the Ice, and we based it on his writing and on the diary of Iver Iverson, his companion.
So since the dynamic between those two is really so vital to the film's story, what was it like looking for the right cast for those two? Because, I mean, obviously Nikolai helped co-write this film and produced it, but I mean, what was it like looking for the perfect Iver to go alongside him?
It was from the beginning, of course, Nikolai Coster-Waldau that I thought, you know, he would be right for it if he liked it. And I was lucky that Nikolai really was thrilled about the story and helped developing the script. Then we had to find the right person to be Iver. And we were looking around, and then very late on, we were suggested to take a look at Joe Cole. And we thought, you know, this is so right. So we met on Skype with Joe, and he luckily agreed to join us on this journey, because to me, the warmth and the humor and all of this was brought in to Ivar's character by Joe. The way that he plays this, you know, optimistic, a little naive first comer in Greenland.
So then what was it like location scouting for this one? Because I mean, the landscapes, the sweeping camera, all of it is just such a beauty to see. What was it like looking for the right locations for this?
What we did to find the right location was we started to do a research trip up the North Coast in the footsteps of Mikkelsen himself. So we were actually up on the very northeast coast of Greenland, where, believe it or not, the hut that they built from the shipwreck is still lying there after 110 years because of the dry air and the cold conditions. So we were in this little hut realizing, oh my God, you know, the two guys have been here for 3 years and you have this vast landscape. And we photographed and filmed it. And then we found more accessible places in Greenland to shoot. And we have Iceland also standing in as the Greenland locations.
What would you say were some of the biggest challenges for you really capturing that survivalist feel to this expedition?
It was to get out there on the glacier every morning. And you have to realize that in the wintertime, you don't have much daytime. So we had to transport the whole crew out up on the glacier in the morning. And then we had only 5 hours of daylight, shoot there, and then get back to the cabins, I would say, we were staying in, and get people out there safe. But one day we really had to be careful. We had to be evacuated from the glacier because there was a storm coming on, and people were like flying around. I'm not kidding you. It was like really hectic, and we had to count everyone on the crew and bring them down, 4x4 in big super jeeps and stuff. So it was sometimes pretty rough up there.
Sounds like you can make a whole documentary about your own experience up there. Write a diary for the next person to make. So then the bear scene, I gotta say, was so well executed. It obviously reminded me a lot of the Revenant with Leo, but I mean, what was it like, putting that scene together and then seeing it come together afterwards?
Yeah, we I wanted to say we made a bet, and then the guy who lost, he had to be the stand-in, and then we put in a real polar bear. No, it wasn't like this. We really carefully choreographed the scene, and we had to get the help from CGI created a polar bear. But the guy who's shaking around, Nikolai, he's doing all of this himself. He's a judo world champion, whatever, stuntman. And he was pretty rough with Nikolai. And maybe I was doing too many takes on it, because after that day, Nikolai was really shaken.
As one probably would be from a bear attack.
Yeah, and also, the costumes they're wearing, they're not costumes. They're like replicas of the clothing that they actually had in those days. They're warm, they're practical, but they're very heavy. And when Nikolai gets into the water and Joe Cole has to pull him up, we suddenly understood how heavy it is. It's almost important. It's like so heavy. So it was a lot of the shoot was very physically exhausting.
I can only imagine. It certainly looks exhausting just from the film, let alone whatever the behind the scenes required. Well, Peter, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I really do appreciate it. I had an absolute blast with this film, and I look forward to spreading the word about it.